My 39M wife, 39F, cheated while on a girls' trip vacation. My wife comes from a family with addiction issues. We've been together for 15 years, married almost 10, and we have 2 children. We have a good relationship, there's never drama, and we've been building an excellent life together. There was a period early on in our relationship where my wife's drinking got excessive. She went to meetings, was sober 18 months, and slowly reintroduced alcohol in a way that perhaps we were fooling ourselves was acceptable. She's always been the social outgoing one, I'm the more analytical and rational one. Fast forward a bunch of years and we own a house, careers are great, and our kids are the pride of both our lives. I've never had concerns with my wife going too far when drinking. Sometimes it's been in excess, but the environments she was doing it in left little room for things to really go too off the rails. She recently went on a girls' trip and ultimately ended up doing a lot of coke, which she had a strong affinity for in college, and had sex with a guy while very high on coke. I found out, we talked, I'm having a hard time processing things. I know I'll never be able to fully trust her alone or with a group of friends again. I don't think it was an emotional thing, I don't think she meant to hurt me or the family, but she absolutely enjoyed the coke and intentions or not. I now need to find a way to live with this infidelity for the rest of my marriage. Honestly, I think the odds of it happening again are slim, and I don't feel any emotional betrayal. But I don't have the deep, unwavering trust I had before. I don't see how I'll ever have it again. We agreed that she'll need to be sober moving forward, that's just the reality of things. I'm encouraged her to take the rest of the week off work to talk to her doctor about her medications and also to find a therapist ASAP. She doesn't drink to black out excess, or really what most would consider to be too much, but in the sense of an alcoholic. Once she starts going, she can't always stop, and if I'm not around to help keep her on the tracks, then clearly she can fall off them. Part of me wishes I was angrier. I'm shaking, I'm furious, but I also feel like the price to insulate my kids from this is a discomfort and burden I have to just deal with. I can't imagine disrupting their home life. I don't want a divorce, mainly because I couldn't bear to take my kids away from a household where both parents get along and I think still do love each other. I'm not good at processing grief. I'm not really sure if I should even burden a friend or family member with this. Part of me doesn't want to let the outside world know what my wife feels incredible shame over. At the same time, I can feel myself suppressing my anger and sadness, and I'm worried I'm just going to be a shell going through the motions. I've never been to counseling. I don't know what my insurance covers or what I would even say. I don't want to sleep in the same bed as my wife. Honestly, I just want to be alone. Part of me wants to feel the grief I know I should be feeling, but my mature, responsible, thoughtful nature is keeping me from almost feeling anything, and maybe that's even scarier to me. Does anyone have any advice on what steps to take? Lots of opinions. I read them all, thanks, even to those of you who are happy to blow the whole thing up. Just a few extra points here. We're both sober moving forward. She has a medical appointment for STDs and a therapy appointment scheduled, both tomorrow. It's clear I can't relate to addiction, it's clear a lot of you can't either, which is fine. I'm looking for a therapist to talk to and we'll do that soon. Yes, my kids are full score mine. No, I'll never trust her friends again, and yes, it's very worrying that I had to find this out on my own. For those of you who can pull the plug on a 15-year commitment after potentially one skip, good on you and your ability to make quick decisions. To all of you saying I'm in denial or this is a habitual, frequent, multi-time thing, maybe you're right. But I don't think so and have a sample size of interactions and relationships that's nearly half my life long. Appreciate the optimism though. I think you are in denial of what your wife is. She sounds like a party girl, which is going to continue to be an issue in your relationship with her. If you want to forgive her and work on this, you need to open up your eyes. Go through her phone, and I am sure you will find a lot more stuff. Ask around. I'm sure at least one of her friends will give you the truth. Be ready for the worst. There are also consequences if you sweep it under the rug. Sooner or later you are going to explode. I recommend that you see a therapist. Dude, I hate to be blunt, but you're being played. Coke doesn't cause people to cheat. She would have done it with or without the drugs. She doesn't sound fit to be a wife or a mother. For your sake and the sake of your kids, move on. Dude, it sounds like you are making excuses for your wife. If I was in your shoes, she would be out the door and served with divorce papers. Lots of people go on vacations and drink and party with friends and don't cheat. Your ex-wife is not one of those people. My, M28, girlfriend, F29, cheated on me, now wants to reconcile. A few weeks ago, my partner of 6+ years confronted me about issues regarding our future together. My potential short-term, i.e., between 6 and 18 months, move abroad for a career opportunity, something I wasn't likely gonna do, but didn't want to fully rule out. Where to settle down long-term, even though our hometowns are only 50 miles apart anyway, and the timeline for marriage. We discussed these issues before, but while I had felt that they could be overcome easily, she apparently was uncertain. After an emotional discussion, where I said I am confident we can find a solution, and she said she wasn't sure we would, we decided to spend a few days apart. During this time apart, I realized the importance of our relationship and was willing to fully compromise. When we met again, I expressed my commitment to not moving abroad, staying in her hometown, and getting engaged in the near future. As mentioned above, I was anyway leaning towards not moving abroad, and the other two issues are in my opinion quite minor, and I was okay to go with her preference. My partner said she needed time to think about it. After another few more days apart, she told me to come to our apartment and talk. She asked me again if I was sure about my compromises, which I confirmed. She was happy. We talked a bit and discussed how to move forward, such as improving communication, to avoid something like this in the future, and increasing quality time spent together, etc. The first step was going to be meeting up for an early dinner at a nice restaurant the next day. I spent the night and we both went to work the next day. I texted her around lunchtime to confirm our dinner plans, and she said she already had something to eat and wasn't feeling well, asking me to come home directly. There, my partner confessed that a coworker, M45, had developed feelings for her, and she for him, since around 1.5 months prior to the initial discussion. Despite the shock and hurt, I told her I was willing to work on our relationship as long as she hadn't cheated and was also committed to working on it. I stayed at my parents' place during this time. We met again to discuss things further after a week, and it felt to me that my partner had already made up her mind in favor of the coworker. However, she asked for more time to think about everything. After another week of silence, we met up, and she admitted to cheating on me with the coworker during the time she was supposedly thinking things over. This led me to consider our relationship over. A few days later, I saw my partner with the coworker at an event we had planned to attend together. The event was huge, she didn't see me. This reinforced my decision to end things. When I informed my partner a few days later that I would be picking up my belongings from our shared apartment, she called that evening and asked to talk again. At this meeting, she was very emotional, in contrast to previous meetings, regretful, and asked for another chance. She even offered to change jobs and attend couples therapy. I had suggested couples therapy in the beginning of this debacle. I'm now feeling conflicted and unsure how to proceed. I'm very hurt. My rational mind tells me it's best to move on, but emotionally it's not so clear. The brain doesn't make it easier by recalling all the good times we had. Realistically, does this relationship still have a future, or is it time to move on? Too long did not read. Partner of 6+ years cheated on me with a coworker, now wants to reconcile. I'm unsure how to proceed. She was taking you for granted, like a puppy she can kick, but can come back to any time she wants to do so. No, you should stay broken up with her. If you take her back, you know what it will mean, right? That she was correct, she could have her fun affair, and still have you to fall back on. Do not validate her choices. She has cheated on you, she needs to suffer consequences. You don't ever take back a cheater. You are just signing up to be cheated on again. Dump, run, never look back. Life will improve. You need to tell her that you saw her at that event with the coworker, and that's when you realized that you were done. You should tell her that taking time to think about things is not the same as free to sleep with other people. She cheated and you're done. You appear to have done all the work and all the compromising. I tend to agree with the others that she had a touch of, the grass is greener. And then either she changed her mind or her mind was changed for her. Either way, you should let her know that she broke your trust, and how can you ever trust that she won't sleep with him again or with another coworker? Do not reconcile. She has shown you her true colors. Do not get back together with her. Grab your stuff, and run. Whatever you do, do not marry her. She has cheated before, she will do it again. She 28F, stood me, 30M, up, only to text me 2 days later. Was it a test? Red flag? So I had been talking to a girl for 2 weeks. She lives in a town about an hour and a half away. But things were going well, so we had been trying to find a time to meet up. Early last week, she had invited me to drive up, visit her, spend the night if I wanted, and work from there since I work remote. Long story, I wasn't able to swing it, but told her that maybe I could drive up over the weekend. Also, meeting for the first time with the expectation of staying over seemed like a bad idea if I felt like we could end up dating. No rush, right? We keep talking. Things are going well. She tries calling me frequently to talk, but usually when I'm in the middle of something. Side note. Calls, unannounced, feel like, give me attention now, to me. I usually decline the call and let her know I can call her later. I mention that texting is typically easier for me, but that calling is okay if it's something she needs an immediate answer on. Sweet communication. By the weekend, she actually had an appointment to have her car serviced at the dealership lined up for Monday, which is located close to where I live. Perfect opportunity to meet and see where things go. Sunday morning she gives me a call. I answer on the first attempt, and we talk about our plans. She was planning to come down, stay with a friend's that night before her appointment in the morning, but wanted to meet up that afternoon. She has a dog, so she asked if there were any dog-friendly spots and, since I don't have a dog, was unsure but that we could figure something out by the time she arrived in the city. We agreed to meet around a particular time and that she should text me when she's leaving so I know when to expect her and that I'd have something planned by the time she got to the city. She says that she would, but that if she was driving, she wouldn't text because that's dangerous. She says likes calls. Totally reasonable. The time passes and she hasn't let me know if she's left yet, so I send her a text asking if she had. An hour passes, then another, then another. We're well past the time she'd still be driving and when she was planning to arrive and I still haven't heard from her. By this time, I feel like she's just testing me to see if I'd call her versus text. 48 hours later she responds to my, "Have you left?" text. Her, "Yes. Drove down and back up. Blah 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 is wrong with me car, bummer right? Anyways I obviously couldn't coordinate seeing you over text because that's dangerous to text and drive." I respond, "Oh, that is a bummer. So you were driving around for 2 whole days huh?" She says, "What? Oh my goodness. Okay, if that's how you want to be." Communication is clearly extremely important in relationships, but a combination of texts, calls seems reasonable. I felt like she was trying to pull the wool over my eyes and I'm overplaying any sort of games. 1. Was this as a test? And 2. Are these types of tests, games red flags to you? Block her. She isn't interested in you. We women call a man when we can't come when we are interested. Only little girls play games. Thank you. Next. If that's how you want to be. Blocked. The message about it being dangerous to text and drive as an explanation to why she ghosted you for 2 days seems like a spiteful get back at you for saying texts work better with your schedule. Weird. Block her. Is such an immature action, grow up and have a conversation. Texting has no context and things get confusing. Not everything is red flags, you don't know her enough to know her red flags. Geese. F24, told my best friend, M25, that I have feelings for him and now he won't talk to me. Edit. Hi, thank you so much for all of your comments. I want to clear up that having this conversation with my friend was something I thought about for a long time, and it wasn't a casual or flip convo. It's clear my tone was misconstrued and a lot of people are assuming the worst in me. I asked if we could meet up to talk about something important, and I told him that I had realized that I had feelings for him, that the lines of our friendship felt blurry sometimes. He told me he had had feelings for me too but that this wasn't a good time for him. He is not in a relationship with somebody else. He was hung up on a girl who lives across the country from us and ghosted him months ago. Regardless, I totally understood and we parted ways amicably that night. I have given him space for nearly 3 months, and things are still really off. I understand that I brought this on myself, and trust, I have cried over this, talked things over with my close friends and therapist, reworked the conversation over in my head a million times. There is no part of this that I treated lightly. I think the tone I struck in my talk with him was earnest, kind, forthcoming, and open, and I'm glad that I spoke honestly about my feelings. We never know if we're going to have as much time as we think we're going to, and I think sharing your feelings with somebody is brave, even if it jostles things for a bit. 24 female, told my best friend who I've known for like 10 years, 25 male, that I have feelings for him. Not in like a, I want to date urn, way, just in a, this feels like the elephant in the room and I want to be able to talk about this openly because it's fun and interesting type of way. UK? He told me he has had feelings for me at times in the past but was hung up on someone else ATM. Someone who does not like him back and is seeing someone else. I've heard from mutuals that he never told me about his feelings because he didn't want to sabotage our friendship. But weirdly now it's been months and he's barely spoken to me and it feels like he wants this to ruin our friendship kinda? I've tried to text him and make things normal but he just responds coldly or flat out ignores me. Eventually I tried to be like, "Hi, I'd really like to work our way back toward being normal and in each other's lives again," and he told me that he doesn't feel weird, he's just been busy. Like, Amau. My romantic feelings for him have always come and gone, so I'm not even crushing anymore. I just want my friend back. Sad face. Is there anything to do but wait? Would love people's takes in general. Lol. You're 24, right? Your language sounds like a 14-year-old. My honest advice for you is to let it go. The friendship will never be the same. Things change and sometimes you can never go back. I think either 1, you are lying to yourself that you aren't crushing now, or 2, if you really go back and forth on having romantic feelings for him, you shouldn't have said anything to begin with. I, 24 female, told my best friend who I've known for like 10 years, 25 male, that I have feelings for him. Not in like a, I want to date URN, way, just in a, this feels like the elephant in the room and I want to be able to talk about this openly because it's fun and interesting type of way. Like, what was the expectation here? You just dropped a bomb on him and expect him to just act normally? He didn't tell you because he didn't want to ruin your friendship. You told him because it was fun and interesting, good way to basically shit on his feelings. Lol. Grow up.